as it began, to something strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. This is a hadith that is one of those that a lot of people have heard and a lot of people recite, like many ahadith. But just like those many ahadith, what we find is that despite how often we repeat it and recite it and hear it, our implementation of it is not comparable to that degree. It's lacking to in a sense, right? And so I wanted to take some time to highlight this hadith. So first, let's look at the word it uses. It says "Bada al-Islamu ghariban," right? It begins with something strange. So what does it mean here when it refers to Islam, when Rasulullah refers to Islam as something strange? Does it mean that what we have is something abnormal? Is it something bizarre? Is it something messed up? Of course not. Rather, what we have is the original message. It's everything else is just a deviation, right? What we have has existed before we existed. It existed from the first person, from Adam alayhi salam, all the way till Nuh, till Ibrahim and his progeny, till Musa, the children of Israel, to Isa ibn Maryam, to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, all the way till now. So it's the original. What we have is the origin. So it's the furthest thing from bizarre. It's the furthest thing from messed up. So then what is meant by strange? What is meant by strange is in the sense of unusual or different in a place that it is introduced to, or when it is introduced to a society. And that is because of its potential to, or rather what it does is its potential to change people and transform people's lives and society's lives on every single level and in every single manner, right? When practiced, of course, sincerely, and when practiced, of course, properly. Yet, despite the fact that we have something that's so powerful and so transformative, when was the last time that we as Muslims, as people who claim to carry the message of Islam, when was the last time that we took a minute to reflect on what we have and genuinely looked at it, not as something that, oh, yeah, it's just something, I just know it's the truth and something I put on the side, or it's something, I was born into. When was the last time we looked at it and gave it the proper respect and thought about it and reflected and were just in genuine awe of how life-changing it is and of how definitive of everything it is, right? That brings me to the lesson that I wanted to go into. Right? So often what we find is that because of how powerful this is and because of how comprehensive it is and the fact that it covers every single area of our life, both the sunnah that we were given from the words and the traditions of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the verses of the Quran, and everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Someone who acts on those, or a society that acts on those, becomes a society that is an ummah that is so blinding, so changing, so different, right? And it's the kind that the rest of the world can't sort of look away from it or can't pretend like it is the normal. When you practice Islam, you stand out. When you practice Islam sincerely, to any degree even, you will stand out to that degree, right? And so what do we take from that? We take that oftentimes that fear of standing out or reluctance to standing out keeps us from fulfilling what we know is what we need to fulfill and what we know is best for us in this akhirah and the next. Put aside even Islam. In general, when there's something that you want to get good at, when you let other people, fear of other people's perceptions hold you back, you hold yourself back from being able to be good at that, right? It just applies to everything in life. Fear of other people keeps you where you are. It doesn't allow you to go far, right? But even in Islam, putting aside your potential, right? It keeps you from doing things that bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Examples, just few examples out of many. It keeps you from praying at all or from delaying your prayers in certain environments, right? Let's say it's at work, let's say it's at school, let's say you're hanging out with certain types of friends, let's say you're in the middle of a match, let's say you're playing video games, let's say you're watching a movie. It keeps you from doing your prayers on time. Let's say it keeps you from fasting, whether it's the required fast, whether it's something like Ramadan, or whether it's something like Sunnah that you want to do, but oh, I don't know what people will think about this, or I don't know if it's worth doing all this because then people will look at me in this way. It's true. We think about these things as, oh no, it's just little kids face this. No. People face this at all ages in all different environments, right? Or another one, we get so immersed in the things that are more popular or more common nowadays, things like pop culture, things like music and books and entertainment and politics and just discussions of all sorts of types, and then we use all that as a distraction from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or as a distraction from taking time out of our day instead of immersing in those things, to just immerse even a little bit in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in the words of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or in our deen, right? So I guess the takeaway from this hadith that I want, and there's many things to take away, but the one that I want to focus on is take some time, whether it's now after you finish or you pray sunnah, or after the event finishes, or maybe when you're going home right before you sleep, take some time to seriously reflect and think about one action that you know you could be doing, one action that you know you should be doing, that you've been giving yourself some excuse. You've just been reluctant for whatever reason. Whether it's, taking some time to learn to read the Quran, taking some time to get better at learning to read the Quran, take some time to reflect, take some time to, pray that extra rak'ah before you go to sleep, take some time to, fast one extra time a week. Find something that you've been holding yourself back from. And, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just make that decision that, I'm going to do this from now on and I'm going to stick with it, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easier for you in this life and the next. This is a reminder to me first and foremost before it is to anyone else. يروي الإمام يروي في سنن ابن ماجه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود كما بدأ غريبا فطوبى للغرباء. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا